Hi and welcome back to Yoga Berry, your yoga for scoliosis community. I'm Christine Jaregiberry and today's video actually comes from a question from someone from the Yoga for Scoliosis community who asked me to make a video about upper body and arm strength. So that's exactly what I'm going to be doing today. You won't need any props for this practice today. If you want to find out more about yoga for scoliosis and the online courses that I offer, do go to my website, which is yogaberry.net. Also, do join us on the Facebook community. It's a fabulous place to meet some other people who are going through the same thing as you and motivate each other, inspire each other, and get lots of new information that might help you. Going to start in all fours. So let's bring the hands directly underneath the shoulders, the knees directly underneath the hips. And we're just going to start with a little bit of cat-cow just to kind of warm up a little bit and get used to having a little bit of pressure onto the hands. Now, please make sure that you're really spreading your fingertips and that the knuckly parts of your hands are really pressing into the ground. This takes all the pressure out of the wrists a little bit more. So let's start with our cat-cow. We're going to inhale, bring the chest forward, slightly looking up, and then exhale to round the spine and drop the head. So inhale, lifting the chest, lengthening, and then exhale to round, drawing the navel back to the spine and drop the head. Good, so keep going just at your own pace. Inhale, drawing the shoulder blades down at the back and letting the belly drop. And then exhale, to round through the spine. Good, so keep going. Now, if you have any sort of spinal fusion, you won't be able to make a very big movement here, but you can still keep it small and maybe just visualize the movement rather than trying to kind of force it where you obviously don't have the range of motion. And if you don't have spinal fusion, then see if you can really make the movement enjoyable. So opening the front and the back of the body. Good. And then let's come back to center and just sit back on your heels for a moment or come into a comfortable seated position if that isn't right for you. We're just gonna release the wrists a little bit. So open the hands, bring the thumbs in, wrapping the fingers around, and then just drawing some circles with the hands around the wrists. So there might be some clicking and popping, crackling going on. It definitely is for me. So just noticing that, and then let's circle the other way around. Good, and then release. Just shake out the hands for a moment. Wiggling the fingers. Good, and then let's come back to our all fours position. Good, so we're going to start to work a little bit more into plank. And this is a great preparation as well if you want to start practicing your side plank, which is especially beneficial for scoliosis as it's an asymmetric pose. But you do need the upper body strength to be able to support your side plank. So that's why we are practicing the normal plank before we do that. So we are just on the hands and knees, and then start to walk your knees slightly further back. So just notice I keep my shoulders directly over the wrists, and you will feel a little bit more pressure going into the hands and wrists. Now we're making sure we're not sinking into the lower back here. So there's a little bit support here from the front of the body. So drawing the navel back to the spine, and then find a good position for the head. So we don't, very often we tend to kind of drop the head. So we don't want to do that. We don't want to lift it all the way up so the chin sticks out. But see if you can keep the back of the neck long and lengthening through the crown of the head. So think about lengthening away from the midline, so reaching forwards. So you might already feel some work going on here in the arms. And can you think about really pressing the floor away from you a little bit more? Now this is without kind of hunching the shoulders and bring the shoulders up towards the ears. We're still keeping them down at the back. So it's not It's not that strong at the moment, so we're not in a full plank, but you will definitely feel this if you are doing it right. So let's hold it for a couple of more breaths. Good, and then let's slowly release. Again, just sitting back on the heels, release the wrists again, maybe drawing some circles one way and the other way. Good, and then we're going to come to the next variation. So this time, from all fours, we're bringing the knees slightly back, shoulders above the wrists, and then we're going to add a little press up here. Now, when we're pressing up, just make sure that your wrists are kind of parallel to the front edge of the mat. So we're not turning the hands in so the elbows will stick out to the sides. We're wanting the elbows to point backwards towards the toes. So again, take a moment to check your alignment. So really lengthening through the neck. And then from there, we're going to add a little press up here. So slowly, just a very small bend in the elbows, and then straightening the arms again. So a little bend and then press up. Little bend and then press up. Good, so that was 3. Let's do a few more. And obviously keep breathing. So in yoga, we always breathe in and out through the nose. Now, this is not a typical yoga exercise, but we're still approaching it in a yogic way. So never go past your limits. So for me, that is probably enough. Now I start to get tired and then I start to not do it quite right. So we don't want to push past this. So let's come into child's pose for a moment. Just sending the hips back and then reach forwards with the arms and bring the forehead down on the ground if it reaches the ground. Just taking a few breaths here. Good, and then slowly bringing yourself up. Good, let's release the shoulders for a moment. So it's quite a lot of work in the upper body, and obviously you can start to build this up as well. Good, so let's come into the full plank version. So we are going to start from all fours again. We're going to hold it this time, so we're not adding the little press up this time. We're going to bring the knees back a little bit more. So maybe this was enough for you and then you stay there. Otherwise, if you want to come into the full version, tuck the toes under of one leg, tuck the toes under of the other leg, straightening the legs, lifting up through the front of the hips, drawing the belly back towards the spine, pressing the hands away from you, and breathe. So here it's very important to breathe, inhaling and exhaling. Good, so we're going to try and hold it for 5 breaths. So that's 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then bring the knees down and resting in child's pose. Good, slowly bringing yourself up. Good, so obviously this is quite an individual practice, so how long I can hold it might not be the same as for you. Maybe you are stronger than me, maybe you can hold it longer. So please listen to your body, what is right for your body today. Now, if you have done my 4 weeks Yoga for Scoliosis course before, you know that I love making little adjustments for your individual curves. And there's a nice adjustment that you can do for a thoracic curve, so for the curve in the upper back, if you might have a hump, for example, on one side. So I will show the adjustment for the right thoracic curve, and please bear with my instructions because a lot of it is hardly visible and it's something that is happening internally in your body. So right thoracic curve, the convex side of that curve is on the right side, the concave side is on the left side. So I'm going to call the concave side the valley side and the convex side is the hump side. So just to kind of clarify these terms. So let's come back to the plank, full plank, actually before we come in. So I'm going to slightly externally rotate the arm, the right arm here. So this is not just moving the hand out, but it's coming from the arm so that the shoulder blade really draws in towards you. So if you're looking from the back, I'm externally rotating the arm so the shoulder blade comes in. Hopefully you can see that. So if you are not sure about this, then just kind of watch the video and then you can always ask me any questions. Okay, so this is our starting point. Then extending the legs. And then so the left side is your belly side. So you want to lift that left side a little bit more than the right side. And then we're going to take a couple of breaths here. So I don't know if you can see that I'm really lifting up through my left side a little bit more. So this would be the opposite, would be collapsing, and this is lifting. Really, really strengthening for the upper body. Good, and then release. So not necessary to hold this for very long. It just gives the body some new information. Good. So let's come back to this one more time. So again, I'm externally rotating the arm outwards, so the shoulder blade draws in, straightening the legs, coming into my plank, and then lifting up through the left side of the body a little bit more. Taking a few breaths here, and then slowly release. Good. So this is a nice adjustment that you can do if you have a thoracic curve. Now, if you find that whole plank a little bit difficult on your hands and on your wrists, we can do this on the forearms as well. So I'll just show you this version as well. So we're going to come down onto the forearms, and the elbows are about shoulder width apart. Clasp the hands together. That's just nice for a little bit stability. And then we start just like we did with the other plank version. So just moving your knees a little bit further back. Noticing what that feels like. Again, pressing into the elbows into the ground. And can you draw the navel back to the spine a little bit more? Good, so that might be enough. And then if you want to take this any further, you can straighten the legs here. So just like the other plank. So I don't want you to drop the hips too much. That puts lots of pressure onto the lower back. So keep lifting through the front of the pelvis a little bit more. Good, let's take another couple of breaths. And then slowly release. Good, and then just coming into child's pose. And that little adjustment that we did in the full plank version, you can't really do this on the when you're on the forearms, but you can add a little adjustment as well when you are in this extended child's pose. So you can think about kind of drawing the right shoulder blade in and down, and then lifting through the left side of the body a little bit more. Good, and slowly bringing yourself up. Good, so what this last little bit did is just slightly de-rotating the spine. We are going through this in much more detail in my 4 weeks course, so feel free just to sign up for updates so you're updated on when the next one is taking place. And otherwise, I'll see you very soon for the next video.